You are now listening to the Tapped In Podcast by Bailey Scott. I'm just drinking some tea. So if you listen to my podcast regularly, you would know that my voice doesn't normally sound like this. I mean, if it does, then, well, never mind. But I've went through a series of sicknesses this past week. So one of them was, I guess, I had some sort of like sinus issue and it was affecting my throat and it was just intense. And I've had a sore throat for like a week. So it's coming down though. Like thankfully I'm drinking this tea, ginger, lemon, honey. That's all it is. And it just feels so good to take care of myself in that way. But welcome back to the pod. I feel like it's been a while since I've been on here, but I've been wanting to dive into my creative endeavors more, and my podcast is one of my outlets. So I really just want to sit and talk. So I really did want to like record a podcast today because today is when I had time and I was like, you know what? It's been a while. Let's do it. And something that came to my mind while I was brushing my teeth was comparison. And honestly, what made me think of this was the fact that like I've never been fully raw and fully like vulnerable on my socials, on my YouTube, on my Instagram, on, my podcast. I've been a little more vulnerable because it's kind of more of an outlet to where you can just talk, and talk about anything you want really. But for some reason on other socials, I seem to portray this life that I'm just so happy to be in, which I am. Like, I am so happy to be in this life, trust me. But like, I'm a human too, and I have my human days, and I feel like I don't show those enough. And of course I don't have to, but when you're in those human days, when you're in those moments of reality, I guess, of the human experience, it's really hard for you to want to, pull out a camera, or it's hard for you to want to, I guess, post something and type out an emotional caption. Like, no one really wants to do that when they're going through something. But I feel like I want to, because when I see other people do it on Instagram and on YouTube, it makes me feel so good that it just makes me not feel alone, because there are a lot of times where I do feel alone in my feelings. Having roommates really helps with that, because we all can really help each other out, because we're not really going through anything all at the same time. So it is really nice to have some support there. But online, it just makes you feel like that you're doing nothing. And like, that's where comparison comes in, because I would always compare my life to others when it's not really what they're showing. Does that make sense? So I just want to be more raw. I want to be more open. And I just want to talk about things that aren't really normalized or aren't really talked about. And I feel like that's what everyone wants to do on a podcast, but I feel like that we're on our phones a lot. I'm sorry. I'm sounding like grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, whatever you want. But I feel like that this society is on our phones a lot. And it's not healthy. Some of us work on our phones. Makes sense. Okay. And, other people, I guess, maybe you need to keep in constant contact with family or something. I don't know. But I feel like that we're on our phones a lot in this society. And I feel like that even if you are on it for work or if you are on it for messaging loved ones, you're still on it for other reasons that is maybe not healthy, you know? And like, this isn't me calling anyone out. This is me calling myself out right now. I feel like there are a lot of days that go by. Like there's weird series I go through where I'm on my phone for like a lot of days in a row. I mean, I'm on my phone every single day, but like there are times and days where I'm on it and I'm on Instagram specifically for a really long time. And I'm just like, why am I on Instagram for so long? Like, why am I looking at this bitch's story? Now I'm looking at her Instagram. Now I'm looking at her friend's Instagram. Now I'm looking at her friend's boyfriend's Instagram. Now I'm looking about their friend. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those people that will go to Instagram for something and then all of a sudden I end up in a rabbit hole of this random bitch's life. And I'm like, why am I, what am I doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're like me, let me know, because I personally want to get rid of that. I want to go to social media with intention. I don't want to go just to scroll. I don't want to go just to stalk. I don't want to go to investigate. I just want to go on Instagram, post what I need to post, support some friends, and then end it at that, you know? But like, I feel like that I've always looked at socials as a outlet of what I'm going through. So like if I'm bored or if I'm just like wrapped up in my head or right as I wake up in the morning, like why do I need to consume myself with others' lives when I have a life right here, right now? Like my eyes are open, I'm awake, I'm alive. Why am I fixated on other alive people? And like, that's why I feel like as a society, we're on our phones a lot because we have this constant need to feel validated for our life. And we also have this constant need to compare our life to others. And like, this might sound like a broken record. I'm sure you've heard all of this before and you're still gonna go on your phone and be on it for hours regardless. But I completely forgot about TikTok. See, I'm glad. I'm going to toot my own horn because I am not on TikTok like that. So I'm not like one of those girls. No, but seriously, to me, TikTok, actually, no. I feel like TikTok is less toxic than Instagram because I feel like Instagram, it's just pictures and a caption and like, you know, a little story here and there. Like that you can be way more fake on. TikTok, you can totally be fake on TikTok too, but I've seen a lot of rawness and I've seen a lot of, I've just seen a lot on TikTok as well that has been really cool. Like, you know, it's really helpful to go on TikTok for like useful things like where to go out to eat or like, you know, if you want to go out with your friends, where to go for the night or what to do for Coachella or things to get on Amazon. Like, I feel like TikTok is really useful in that sense. But I feel like just mindlessly scrolling is what gets to me, because I notice when I mindlessly scroll and then I think about the time that just passed that I wasn't fully present, and I don't know, I just don't like it. And I'm not saying that like, oh, this society can't be on their phones, it's so toxic. Like, you can be a healthy person and, you know, be on your phone and all that. But I feel like as a society that what I'm observing is the fact that like we're watching others' lives and it seems like we're a little too consumed in them, you know? Like, we're consumed in our lives every single day. Every time we wake up, you know, every time that we, I guess, make ourselves food or, you know, go shopping or hang out with friends or anytime we're present, that's how we're indulging in our lives. And I feel like that's how humans should have been. I feel like that's how humans obviously were phones were invented, before fucking anything was invented. All we literally had were our lives and our community. And a part of me really, really, really wants to go back to that. I just wish that I didn't have to think of what I'm doing wrong all the time. You know, like, because there are a lot of things that we as people might think we're doing wrong because of how we're seeing other people do them. Does that make sense? But we all have like a different life experience. We all have a different path. We all are given different opportunities because we're all different people. So like when I am like talking negatively to myself and I'm like, you're doing this wrong, Bailey. Like, you know, like you should have done it like this, or blah, 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 blah. It makes me feel like I'm comparing myself, which I am, because I'm comparing my life path and my experiences and my opportunities to others. And it's annoying because I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to look at my life and my path as wrong just because it doesn't mirror somebody else's, you know? And I feel like I've done that a lot in my life. Like, I feel like I've done that my whole life. And then social media added to the mix was just it was bad because it would feel like it was already bad when I was a kid. Because I used to be in theater and I would always like listen to other people and hear about where they came from. And I would always like just watch other people and I would observe a lot, and it would cause a lot of self-talk, like a lot of negative self-talk, because I just was never really appreciative of my path. I was just kind of observing others and I was like, not me, you know, like, oh, you took ballet for 6 years? Oh, this is like my first year in theater. Like, you know what I mean? I would just be completely just comparing myself to everyone's stories, everyone's paths. And I feel like that's so dangerous. Not dangerous, but it's not healthy. It doesn't benefit anybody. So when I got social media, I can't really remember when I got social media. I feel like I had Instagram whenever it was still brown. Like the Instagram was still brown when I had it. You remember like you know what I'm trying to say. I believe that I was 13 or 12. I think I was in like 6th grade when I got Instagram. So you're around that age, right? And I was just looking at it as like a Tumblr. Because so many like posts were really cute and innocent. Like, you know, it was the colorful Starbucks cups and like the colorful cupcakes and then the cute shorts and then the little cell phone cases. Like, I'm just getting nostalgic right now, but the white borders, when it was in and it was actually a thing, I was obsessed. And I just really was innocent when I looked at social media at that young age. And then the more I was on it, the worse it got, of course. And then I feel like just the more that we grow up, we just generate these thoughts by like our families and by our peers, and they're just thoughts that hold a lot of weight. And loving thoughts and light and good energy thoughts don't hold as much weight, therefore they're harder to maintain, right? So when people around you have these heavy emotions, they project, you know? And I definitely have experienced a lot of projection in my life from people, from friends and family. And of course, there was no ill intention. We were all young. We were all going through it. We're all going through human experiences. But what I felt was very intense. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to stay on social media and on my phone because everybody else is, But as I'm going up and as I went to high school and everything, I was still on it, still comparing. If anything, in high school, it was worse, of course. So yeah, I feel like I'm still recovering from like my high school self, really, because she had so many bad thoughts. It was so sad. And sometimes teenage Bailey still pops in here and there. And I'm here to tell her that I love her, and I hope you can do the same for yourself. For yourself now, and for yourself, and for your younger self. I really hope that you can tell them that you love them with all the love in the world, even though you still might be going through it, even though you aren't fully healed from them. It's always good to send love and acknowledgement to that area of your life. So yeah, I really feel like that comparison was one of the things that has been one of the main reasons for my insecurities. I would just always compare how I looked. I would compare my life, and I would just compare. And that's why I wish we didn't have our phones, because it'd be a lot harder to compare if we didn't have social media. So I don't really know if you're searching for advice, really. But what's helping me stop comparing myself is not being on social media as much. And when I do go on social media, I have an intention, whether it's to post, whether it's to comment on a friend's post, whether it's to just post something on my story like food, or whether it's an intention to look for someone or look for something, like look for information on something like on TikTok or something. But I am done comparing my human experience to others. And I feel like that being on my phone less would really help with that. And maybe if this is your sign to maybe stop looking down, look up for once, and just observe the life around you. Even if you're bored, even if you're just woke up in the morning and all you want to do is go on Snapchat or something, like, just wake up and observe. Observe how you feel. Observe what's around you. Sorry, I just hit the mic. Observe what's around you. Observe what the weather looks like outside. Just observe your present moment and really take it in, because this is your life. This is your human experience, and you deserve to feel every ounce of it. And we can go on our phones here and there. There are pleasures, okay? Our phones were given to us as a gift from the universe, or Steve Jobs, or whoever made phones. I don't know, but they're gifts, but they're not necessities. A phone is a necessity only just because you need to contact family and stuff like that. But social media, I wouldn't consider it a necessity in my life. And it's so hard because the life I want to create for myself kind of has to go through social media, like a podcast, or, like YouTube, being a YouTuber, like that's all through social media. But that's where I feel like I put time management into the mix, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be mindlessly scrolling on Instagram when I could either be taking photos right now, or I could either be editing a video, or I could either be posting something that has to deal with my podcast or whatever. So I feel like that it's really all about time management and even when you set limits on your Instagram or anything like that, like maybe try not ignoring them. I'll do it too, like even if you just do it for like a day, just like realize what not being on your phone feels like for a whole day. And I feel like it feels really good. Because there are a lot of days and hours that go by that I'm not mindlessly scrolling, and I feel really less clouded in my brain. Like I feel like I have less going on in my head. And then there are days, like I said, there are series of days that I'm on Instagram a lot and I'm really negative and I'm really in my head and I'm really cloudy and I'm just like, what is happening? Like, why am I so in my head right now? And it's because I was on social media looking at others' lives and comparing mine. And I just kind of subconsciously do that because I've done it for so long. But I'm done falling into that pattern. And if you fall into that same pattern, I want to say that I love you and that you are on the life path you are meant to be on, no matter what Shelby's or Leslie's or fucking Beyonce's looks like. You are meant to be on the one you're on. So maybe take some time, put the phone down, and read a book. I hate to sound like that, but I also don't, Sometimes we need to be reminded of those things. And so what I am going to say is take a day, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, and just be. Do things that keep your brain busy, whether that's cooking, whether that's reading, or maybe don't keep your mind busy. Maybe meditate, maybe do a yoga flow, work out, listen to really good music and make yourself a good meal. Like, consume yourself with things that will fill you up and fill your cup energetically and not fill you up mentally, because that to me is what social media does. It just fills my brain up mentally and then I'm just overflowed and I'm stressed. So take this video or take this podcast with consideration and take it with love, because it's not coming from a place of attack. It's coming from a place of genuine love that I want to see my society thrive. And I feel like we can all thrive a lot more if we could just fully authentically be ourselves. And we can't fully authentically be ourselves if we're constantly comparing ourselves. So, I love you. Repeat after me. I love me. And I am so eternally grateful for this present moment. Let's take a deep breath. Exhale out the mouth. Thank you so much for tapping into today's podcast. And I'll see you in the next one. I won't see you, but you'll hear from me in the next one.